And Joe, we just learned the Supreme Court also sided with the Trump administration, allowing the president to terminate members of the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Is this going to have an impact on the products that we're buying?
Perhaps. I mean, we work in morning TV, right? I mean, how many stories have we read over the years involving recalls or certain advisories or warnings issued by this board? It was created in the early 1970s by Congress, meant to be independent. Staggered term, so you always have Democrats and Republicans on this body. But clearly, the president believes something over the last several years changed, and that's why he's terminating these individuals, the Democrats on the board. The Republicans are staying. For the moment, it's unclear if this commission can do anything. I mean, they're down 3 members. They're not going to be able to have a quorum. The president will presumably be able to appoint new members, so we may not have warnings or recalls or anything to the like for the foreseeable future from this committee. Democratic members of Congress are furious with this, believing that this will forever.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our citizens. We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What's going on, family? Hope everybody that's tuned in right now that you are blessed, well, and healthy, and that you're having a great start to your week. And oh boy, again, covering a lot of things that most are not given any coverage at all, and a lot of big wins, a lot of things stacking up for President Trump and this administration. But we now have breaking news and some more updates to get into. But the Supreme Court allows Trump to remove 3 Democrats from the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Another huge win from the Supreme Court, and we do have an update on the Supreme Court and even this whole Maxwell situation. Oh boy, Epstein. Before we get into that, let's check this out.
Supposedly independent agency that had refused. President Donald Trump just scored a major win at the U.S. Supreme Court, and it's going to reshape federal power in a big way.
Boy.
But before we in a 6-3 decision, the court ruled that President Trump has full authority to remove 3 Democrat members from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, a supposedly independent agency that had refused to step aside after Trump fired them earlier this year. They were Biden appointees. They had years left on their terms, but the court said, too bad.
Auto pen appointees, oh boy.
Quote, the Constitution gives the president control of the executive branch, unquote, the ruling states, echoing earlier decisions that empowered Trump to clean house at other federal agencies. And that's exactly what happened here. Trump fired 3 Democrats on the 5-member commission. No explanation, no cause, just removed, as presidents are allowed to do under the Constitution. But a Biden-appointed judge, Matthew Maddox, tried to block it. He said the firings were unlawful because they can only be removed for neglect or duty or malfeasance. Wrong. The Supreme Court overruled him. The 3 liberal justices, they dissented, led by Kagan, who said that Trump didn't have the regulatory authority and that agencies have to answer to the president and not operate as an unelected 4th branch of government. And that's what the SCOTUS said. So now let's get real. The CPSC isn't about baby toys and toaster recalls. It's one of a dozens of so-called independent boards that push Democrat-aligned policy even when voters choose a Republican president. So for decades, these boards were protected by 1935 ruling, Humphrey's Executor, which said presidents can't fire certain officials without cause. And that ruling gave birth to the modern administrative state, a bloated network of commissions and boards immune from electoral accountability. But now, that era is ending. The court didn't overturn Humphrey's Executor outright, not yet. But even Justin Kagan admits the majority has all but overturned it already. So here's what it means. Trump can remove partisan holdovers, even if they're serving fixed terms. The FTC, FCC, NLRB, and other agencies could face similar shakeups. And the president gets his power back. No more rogue commissioners blocking his agenda from the shadows. So this isn't the only removal case in motion. Last week, a federal judge ordered Rebecca Slaughter reinstated at the FTC, another Biden appointee, and she came back to work, but Tuesday she was blocked again by a higher court. So their scheme is unraveling. The deep state thought it could somehow hold out against Trump's return to office and just drag their feet and try to protect their power at all costs, even if it means violating laws and obstructing his agenda however they possibly can. Yeah. But Trump is back in charge, and he is getting wins in the courts, and it's just a matter of time before these Democrats are shown the door and they're put out on the streets where they belong, because they were not elected to be in the executive branch. President Trump was elected to be in the executive branch. So bye-bye. Hasta la vista.
Yeah, buddy.
If you have any thoughts on this story.
Yeah, huge shout out to Kyle for breaking that down for me. Huge shout out to Kyle on Explain America. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And we do have an update on the one and only. Yeah. All right, CBS. Fake news.
The Epstein case. Let's jump to CBS News correspondent Natalie.
Hopefully they can get it right. We at the White House.
Brand at the White House. Natalie, good morning to you. So we should let our viewers know that President Trump was asked whether he would consider pardoning Jeffrey Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Don't play
Let's
it.
just quickly show his response.
Don't play it.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. Right now, it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So,
tell us more about that and Maxwell's latest effort to overturn her conviction.
Yeah, well, Maxwell's legal team has essentially renewed its appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, asking them to hear an appeal of her 2021 sex trafficking conviction, essentially arguing that the non-prosecution agreement that Epstein reached with federal prosecutors in Florida should apply to the New York case as well. Now, this is a request they initially made the high court to hear a few months ago. At that time, the DOJ, in a response, essentially said that the court should not consider the case, referencing longstanding DOJ policy that an agreement made with one U.S. attorney doesn't necessarily bind others. But in this really striking new statement by Maxwell's attorney, David Marcus, who, of course, we've heard from in recent days following her interview with the DOJ, he said, quote, "We are appealing not only to the Supreme Court, but to the president himself to recognize how profoundly unjust it is to, quote, scapegoat Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein's crimes." Now, of course, Maxwell, as we know, is serving a 20-year prison sentence for her conviction of grooming underage girls for sexual abuse. CBS News and Major Garrett on The Takeout spoke to an attorney, Spencer Kuven, who has long represented some of her victims, basically asking him about these latest developments. Here's some of what he had to say.
There would be no Jeffrey Epstein if there weren't a Ghislaine Maxwell. When Ghislaine Maxwell came into the picture, and she started talking to these girls with a beautiful British accent and well-dressed, well-mannered, you know, that is when a 15 or 14-year-old's guard goes down.
Kuven told Major Garrett, that the idea of a pardon is nauseating to him as someone who has represented these victims. He wants more information released. He wants Maxwell subpoenaed by Congress so she can talk more about what she knows and who was involved. And he said for the victims who are now adults who he's represented, they want way more information and files to be released to show the scope of who was involved in the scandal, he says.
Wow, so much more to see in this case.
Oh boy. What y'all think? Comment down below. You know, not too bad from CBS early in the morning. All right. Surprised they didn't come out and, you know, play the clip and then say, yeah, we think Trump's going to give her a pardon. Miss Maxwell asking the Supreme Court to overturn. Oh boy. Some big Supreme Court updates, man. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section. But we are stacking up wins. Again, we know this is not going to be let go, forgotten about. People aren't just going to move on. So, hey, here we are, family. Right? But we are bringing some of the best updates, you know. And again, before we close out, I wanted to send my prayers and love to you all. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Know how to protect and defend yourself. Be aware of your surroundings. We are living in some of the darkest times, man. People have lost their minds, you know, and it's only getting worse. And we also want to send our prayers to the ones with all this weather alerts and tsunamis and the earthquake that just hit. We want to send prayers. We're going to be bringing an update to that as well soon and see how that is panning out. But whew, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, we are living in the biggest history yet. I tell you, man. They going to come back and study these times for real. These times are going to be highlighted, boy. But hey, God bless you all, your family, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, you guys.